Good morning, fam. It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and today we are going to talk about the test subjects for January. Spyderco K390 Delica. Almost said Indela. That's the one I used to have. And Spyderco CPM REX45 Native 5 Lightweight. These are going head to head this month for edge retention testing and overall model testing. I'm really excited about it, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit today and do an introduction to how the testing is going to go. But before we get started, apologies for the puffy eyes. Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of me losing just my absolute best friend that I ever had in my entire life, Mr. King. He passed away 2 years ago on New Year's Day, unexpectedly. So, last night was a lot of grieving and looking at his photo album and just talking with him and communicating with him through spirit, and it was just a lot of crying. So my eyes are puffy, I apologize. Let's get into this. So, this testing is going to be very interesting. Originally, I wanted to do REX45 testing, and I wanted to do this modded Native 5 lightweight, and then I wanted to put it against a stock Native 5 lightweight in REX45. However, I'm not buying knives, and I haven't had one come through or anything, so I was like, well, crap, can't do that now. So I figured instead I would do K390 versus REX45 because I think they're very comparable. They are some of my favorite EDC steels, and I'm really curious to see which one has better edge retention and kind of like how they're different in stropping and sharpening and toughness, all that good stuff. I think it'll be a really fun comparison. I mean, disclaimer, this one is modded, this one is reground, so this is way thinner behind the edge than a normal Native 5 lightweight. This may be superior to the K390, I'm not sure. It may be superior because it has been reground, I really don't know. Like I said, I wish I could bring in a stock REX45 to put against the K390, but we just, we're going with this because this is what we have. And I think we can still find some really interesting and factual data points even with this comparison, right? just this standing alone might be interesting to see if the regrind really does improve REX45 as a whole steel. I wonder if the thinness behind the edge on this does improve its performance by a landslide, because that's what I've heard. So that's the testing for this month. I'm really curious to see how that goes. I have a whole bunch of tool steels here that I am going to be kind of bringing in for comparison points. I have a lot of experience with this ADCRV2, which is a tool steel. Way lesser edge retention and overall performance right off the bat in comparison to these, but just so people kind of have some different options to think about, we have ADCRV2, which I will be bringing in for comparison. I also have a lot of experience with A2 tool steel and A1 tool steel, something like this. I do have Crewware, which is king, in my opinion, of the tool steels. Crewware is just absolutely incredible and one of my favorite all-time steels. I have used a lot of Crewware, and it is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So we'll be kind of talking about that a little bit. I do have 52100 tool steel as well. This is in the same realm of ADCRV2, but superior within that realm, in my opinion. I think that 52100 has way better edge retention above ADCRV2, but if we're talking about tiers of steel, I would put them into the same. Kind of like if I had to make a ranking system right now, just out of the blue, I would do 52100. I would also put O1 tool steel within that tier. I would put the A1 and A2 into that tier, and I would put the ADCR V2 into it. I would put them all in a lump, and then superior to that, I would do the Crewwear, and then superior to that, I would do K390 and REX45. In some cases, I would put Crewwear right in with these. Absolutely. I have used some Crewwear that was like, it almost was unbelievable how crazy the edge retention was. I had a mini Adamas from Benchmade in Crewwear, and that edge retention was absolutely unbelievable. So in some cases, I would put Crewwear in with REX45 and K390. It depends on where you're getting it from and the heat treat, so on and so forth. But all of those other tool steels, I feel like, are a little bit below right off the bat from my prior experience, and we are introducing these greater tool steels that are just blowing everything out of the water. So I'm really excited to kind of see how far these two especially go with the testing. People have been asking me to do some EDC steel rankings and kind of like my favorite steels, and just making more content on what blade steels I like to use. I can incorporate a little bit of that information into this video right now because I have a pretty clear mindset on what steels I really have enjoyed so far in my journey. Obviously that is subject to change, but we can just record that right now just for fun. So for tool steels, if I had to pick 3 tool steels, 3 non-stainless steels that I absolutely adore, it would be these 3. It would be Crewwear, K390, and REX45 right off the bat. Like, these are necessities, essentials for me. I love these steels. Crewwear is definitely more stainless than these two. Out of all of these, the REX45 to me seems to be the least stainless. Crewwear is surprisingly stainless for being more of a tool steel, but these are my favorites right now. And then if we had to talk stainless favorite steels, as mentioned in one of my prior videos, Spyderco S45VN is absolutely phenomenal. I love this steel. S45 as a whole is really good, but I do think to unlock the maximum capabilities of it, you do have to have it a little more thin ground. Like we talked about before, if we were to take a Chris Reeve Sabenza per se in S45VN and compare it to this, the Para 3 is definitely better, right? We have a thinner geometry, we have a totally different blade shape and grind and everything, and the edge retention from my use in a blade shape like this and a heat treat like this is, even though they are the same steel, the Spyderco outperforms the Sabenza, even though they are the same steel. But we have a different heat treat, we have a different blade shape, we have different blade geometry. So if you get a thin ground, highly treated S45VN like from Spyderco, one of my favorite EDC steels, stainless speaking. Another one that I really, really enjoy is 20CV. Again, I do feel it's a necessity to have it a little thinner ground and a good heat treat, no burnt edges, stuff like that. Specifically this TRM Neutron 2 in 20CV, this edge retention during my testing was incredible. 20CV is pretty darn stainless. I put this through a month of testing and the edge retention was really impressive. I have tested other 20CV more production heat treated, and it depends. I've used Benchmade 20CV and I felt it wasn't as good as the TRM 20CV. Hogue, give or take, depending on what you get, can be really good or not so good, but specifically TRM 20CV, I really enjoy this from a stainless point of view. And then the last one, which I don't have, let me grab it real quick. MagnaCut. Now, this is super controversial. I think that you have to have a high treated, thin ground magna cut to be able to experience what it has to offer. Some people tell me I'm crazy for saying that. I have had a lot of experience with magna cut. My first go around with it was a BGM Knives mini javelin, and it was treated lower. I think it was 60 to 61 maybe. I just had a terrible time with that. I think it was too thick behind the edge. I think the heat treat was too low, and it just didn't work for me. Then I did get the Hogue Deca in Magna Cut, which was also the first production run, and it was low as well. I think it was maybe 59 to 60 or 60 to 61, something like that. Just didn't do it for me. That was really thin behind the edge, but again, just poor edge retention for my use. So my first go around with Magna Cut was really horrific. However, for testing purposes, I wanted to continue using it and try to figure out where it could work for me, because in theory, it should work. It was kind of this like groundbreaking technology and chemistry that everyone was raving about, and for some reason, I just couldn't freaking stand it. So when my third Magna Cut knife came in, the BGM Knives Mini Spade Full Flat Ground, this one, if I can recall correctly, is 62.5 to 63 or 63.5, something like that. Higher on the spectrum of heat treat. This is like a magic knife. This one is literally magical. The edge retention is insane. I have tons of videos on this, but this is full flat ground, very thin behind the edge, like paper thin. Treated pretty high, and it's a custom heat treat. And this particular knife, out of any knife I have ever used in my life and in my current collection, it is the best knife overall. The best steel overall, the best cutter, the best slicer, the best with edge retention and corrosion resistance and toughness. This is the ultimate one and done knife for me. I have not really experienced anything better, especially in terms of stainless. K390 is my favorite tool steel, but I don't have enough experience with it yet to say that, like, out of anything I've ever used, it's the best. We might be able to say that at the end of the month, but I can't say it yet because I don't have enough experience. It is definitely one of my favorites. But this Magna Cut, it doesn't even make any sense to me. It's so good. Seriously. If you don't have a full flat ground spade or mini spade yet from John in Magna Cut, you have to get one. The sharpening experience is incredible. It's as pleasant and easy to sharpen as LC200N from Spyderco. So that's really saying something. That's like therapy for me, sharpening that steel. It's absolutely incredible. But this sharpens as easy as that, but the edge retention it's like 1,000 levels better than LC200N. It's not even comparable. It's just like the same beautiful sharpening experience, and this performs above and beyond LC200N or anything. And this edge that it has is it's polished. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It's polished. I freehand polished this edge, and it's so toothy and bitey and grabby for a polished edge. It's like, I don't even understand. It literally feels like it's just so crisp. It's so clean and crisp and bitey. I can't even believe it. And I don't even usually like polished edges, but this one, it polished right up, but it's just everything that a knife edge should be. It's phenomenal. So, Magna Cut, when treated high, when ground thin, when done correctly, is definitely one of my favorite stainless steels to date. I really do want to try the 15V that Spyderco is messing around with. The Manix 2 model is just way too big for me. I've owned 3 of them now, and they're they're just way too big for me, so I can't get that yet. Maybe in a couple years they'll introduce different models in 15V. I really want to try that steel because that one seems to be... It's like we were obsessed with MagnaCut, and then the moment Sean produced 15V, everyone was like, well, fuck that! I want the 15V! I want it right now! I'm gonna order it. I'm gonna pre-order it. So, MagnaCut, it's like nobody's even talking about it right now because everyone has their minds on 15V. But this is absolutely one of the best seals I've ever used when done correctly. This is just one of my best performers. And like I said, if you want like a one and done knife, get a spade or mini spade from John at BGM Knives in MagnaCut full flat ground. Specifically full flat ground. I have them. Double hollow ground. This performance is way crazier. This is the ultimate knife. That's just a difference there. This is also a Gen 2 mini spade, by the way. I don't know if you can tell, but the blade height on the Gen 3 is a little bigger, and the handle thickness and such is a little beefier. Hopefully you can kind of see that. They're just a hair different. The Gen 2 is a little slimmer, and the Gen 3 is pretty thick. This is a mini spade too. This is a Gen 3 as well, so these are both pretty beefy little knives. Double hollow ground on the Crewware. And this is a full size double hollow ground Gen 3. Just for some comparisons there. But yeah, I am very, very excited to see how this testing goes. I love what I have gotten so far, what I have received thus far from REX45 and K390. I did test a K390 Wharncliffe Delica a while back, and it was phenomenal. I've had CPM REX45 pair of 3s that I really liked. And so far, the differences that I have found are that the REX45 is harder to strop back than the K390. So that's an interesting point. The REX45 just feels harder in general than the K390. I have a really hard time stropping this one back. I have to use a very hard strop, and that leather cannot really have any flex to it. It has to be extremely hard to move this. So I've noticed that. The K390 is very easy to strop back. Incredible edge retention. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like this feels way softer or lesser. It's just easier to strop back with still incredible edge retention compared to the REX45. I can't maintenance this one as easily and as quickly as the K390 so far. Yeah, so that's an interesting point. They both take just insane edges, man. The toothiness that you get from both of these is out of this world. So clean and crispy. Really curious to see how these two do head to head. I'm going to have them both in my pocket for the whole month. That way I can, in use, switch back and forth, like do a cut with this one, then do a cut with this one, so I can, in real time, feel the difference. I'll be recording some stropping and sharpening techniques and results as well, obviously. Basically, at the end of this testing, I really want to be able to tell you guys which one I prefer, which one I think may work for you better, and even which model may work better for you. I've never really done a Native 5 lightweight versus Delica test before. These are some of Spyderco's best sellers, some of their cheaper offerings because of the FRN handles. They're both lockback. One of them is just a little more bulky in design than the other. So I'm very curious to see which one I end up liking more, because I do favor this choil right here, this forward choil on the Native 5. I really enjoy holding the knife like this, and that's always something I've desired from the Delica, is having some type of choil. I just feel like with specific cuts, you're a little far away from that blade. I really like when I can bond with the blade and I feel like everything flows without interruption, and that's what you get from this. Like, look, that's my finger, and that's that's the edge. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a lot of control. You're very close to that edge, and you just are a little further away. You have a little more distance with the Delica. There's a lot of real estate right there that's unused. So I'm curious to see if that compromises anything at all. That is nitpicking. You know, this is just complete nerd talk at this point in terms of knives. Like, some of you may be watching this and be like, holy shit, Erica, you focus way too much on this. But I am a knife nerd. You know, those are things I pay attention to. Those are things that I think about. Those are things that I take into consideration when choosing a favorite EDC knife. Those are surprisingly things that impact my results and my favorings, you know? I have always really loved being able to choke up on a knife to do specific tasks. It's just something I enjoy. Maybe crazy, maybe nerdy, what have you. That's why I love the Para 3 so much, you know? I think that's one of the best selling points on the Para 3. Again, that forward choil. In conjunction with this really extreme ramp right there and that toothy jimping, you can just choke right up, dude. That feels incredible in hand. Huge selling point for me. I really like being able to do that. It just feels good. I don't get that experience from any of the other knives that I have, you know? Even my knives with the best ergonomics, it just, you're not that close. Where's my pride and joy? Even with the Emerson Mini A100, which you guys know I am obsessed with. Completely straight ergonomics here, but safely choking up as much as I can. Still a little bit of distance there, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit of distance there. You can't safely choke up too much on that because you don't want to risk slicing. And you would on this because this one is a ripper. So I don't mess around with putting my fingers in the way on that one because I put a gnarly edge on this and this thing shreds. Okay, I think that's enough nerd talk. Yeah, that's the testing for this month. Very curious to see where these tool steels rank overall from my experience because I've used a ton of different steels, quite frankly. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, only results I have so far is that REX45 is more difficult to strap back than K390. Aside from that, they feel pretty darn similar so far. Really enjoying them both. I'll continue to do weekly updates. We'll have at least four updates until we do the full review because my reviews are only done after a month of consecutive testing and I do an update each week leading up, so we'll have at least 4 updates on how things are going with these. But I will see you guys in the next video. I hope that you enjoy this test. I hope that it's as fun for you as it is for me. I will see you guys on the next video. We need to go use your shit. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Where is it? Ugh, I don't really use my stuff. It's hard to find one. Go use your shit. Oh no, that's not good enough. We can't even buy 21s anymore. I need something else. Go use your shit. Okay, that one kind of works. What if they don't believe me? Oh my god. I didn't even get put into Cedric and Ada's channel for the types of knife users. Do I even exist? I don't know. That video was wicked funny. If you haven't watched Cedric and Ada, go watch Pete's recent video on, like, the top 10 types of knife users. It was freaking hilarious, although I did bug him, and I was like, you didn't put the use your shit people on that list. We're so annoying everywhere. We never shut up. Why aren't we on the list? Where's the go use your shit people? Alright, I need to go actually do something productive. Go use your shit, guys. I will see you on the next video. I love you all so much. Take care.